I dated a guy who had a very close relationship with his ex, and I think on some level he quite enjoyed that. That made me feel jealous.
That's cruel.
I remember being on a date with him and him going outside and having a half-an-hour conversation with her on like one of our first dates. He had pictures up in his room. Yeah.
What?
My Mother Said I Shouldn't with Sarah and Michaela.
Hi, welcome back to My Mother Said I Shouldn't with Michaela, who is a certified life coach.
Hello.
And me, Sarah, who's a certified health coach.
You can call her me if you like.
Me. So our podcast is sponsored by Coaching Heroes and Roll Pictures, and we have Cal here in the studio today, who is our producer, who you might hear kind of popping in now and again in the conversations. Hi, Cal.
Hello.
So Kay is on the subject matter today, so let's see what she's bringing to the table.
Are you ready?
I'm ready for it.
My mother said I shouldn't have boy friendships.
Okay.
I shouldn't have men as friends
Why?
because they cannot be platonic. They can only be romantic.
Oh, it's controversial, Kay.
Very controversial and, in my experience, very untrue.
See, there's a mixed bag here. So, I've got friends that are platonic, that would never, like, feels like a brother, right? A friend Was. Hi, Was.
Just so he's clear.
Just so we're clear. He'll be so happy I mentioned him.
I feel bad. Hi, Nick.
Should we mention all our platonic? Hi, Cal.
Just make sure friend zones are clearly defined.
So there are, yeah, absolutely. But then I think some situations can be a little bit tricky.
Tricky, eh? I mean, my situation, I'm marrying a guy I was friends with, but I have never gone out with a friend before. That's the first time that I've ever dated someone I was friends with. I had a very strict rule about that in the past.
I know you did. That's why I was so shocked when it happened. We have spoke about this before as well, about getting,
You were very shocked.
Yeah, my friends, I was very, very shocked.
The way you told it, you said you got angry.
She got angry.
Right, let's talk about that, because that that makes me sound psycho. So I got angry because we were on a night out, we were drunk, and I thought he was taking advantage of you, being drunk, kissing you. So I marched up, and obviously as a protective friend, was
Very
like,
Scottish.
"What are you doing? You do not do that, Tom. No, no."
She did say that.
And then Kay, you had to step in and
I
say,
did. I was like, Sarah.
I was very wound up.
It's okay. I'm okay with it. And she looked at me and she was like, You're okay with this? Are you okay with this? Are you sure you're okay with this? All the while scowling at Thomas.
I was honestly so protective.
So protective. And I was like, yes, I'm fine. And you're like, right. Okay, well, okay, I'm gonna go now.
And I had to go outside to sit and have a drink for a little bit and just sit on my own and absorb that information, because you never get with friends. So I knew it was, if you were doing that in front of everybody, saying to me, Sarah, it's going to be okay. Well, it is okay. No, it's not going to be okay. That it was okay. That's something that you did want. I knew that was going to be a long-term thing. And look where we are now. You are getting married in a couple of months.
Exactly. So friendships can go that way. And I suppose from my mother's perspective, my mum's always known that I've had lots of boy mates. And I said on a previous podcast, she'd always be like, just get with one of your boy mates. Get with one of your boy mates. She kept telling me to date one of my boy mates. And I was like, no, they're friends for a reason. Friends for a reason. But she's always known I've had them. But from a young age, she did mention, she was like, oh, you don't want to have too many boy mates because it's going to put off a romantic partner. So that was her fear of how would they react with me having all these boy mates. But I think it's because my mum she's quite a jealous woman.
Right. Now, this is interesting, because it'd be quite interesting to hear from Cal, because as a guy, you think, okay, well, are guys actually uncomfortable with women having a lot of male friends? And why?
But it goes both ways, doesn't it?
Oh, it does go both ways.
Because are you comfortable? Are women comfortable having a partner who occasionally goes for a cup of coffee with a girl that he's friends with?
Have you slept with them or been in a relationship with them?
That's a very
That's
good question.
my question.
Right, because that changes everything.
Changes
Has there
everything.
been history?
And that's now there. That's it now. Who finished that relationship? Was it both of you saying, do you know what, we're just not right, let's be friends?
So now it's not a friendship though, it's an ex. So it's turned into a friendship, but are you okay with your partner being in touch with their ex? So I used to be in touch with my ex. So I would say yes. As long as they wanted to get to know me and wanted to involve me into their friendship, I think it would go a little bit. I don't think I would feel that way if I was excluded from their friendship, because I bring Tom into all of my male friendships. Like, you know, he hugged Cal yesterday. Well, as soon as he seen him, he gave him a big hug.
It was delightful.
A little bro hug, because they've become friends. They've got to know each other, and I have a really good friendship with Julia, Cal's partner, because you want to.
So do I. Julia.
Because you want to be friends with their partner because you love them and you want to be part of their life, and you want to, you just want that, and then they become part of your life and you get more friends. My oldest best friend Nick, I spend more time messaging his wife Laura. She's incredible, and now I'd consider her one of my closest friends as well. So yeah, it's a tricky one. But when I was younger, I didn't like it.
You didn't like the guy having girlfriends?
Being friends with his ex.
Being friends with his ex. But if it was just friends, they'd never been together, you were fine with it?
As long as they didn't fancy him. So
But how would you know that?
because they sent him a message when he was in bed with me declaring their love at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's how I knew that happened. Right? So then I was a little bit uncomfortable with my partner having a friendship with this girl. I never stopped it though. And this was years and years ago. I was 21 at the time. 21. I never stopped it. I just said you need to make it very clear.
You never stopped that friendship?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
And I never stopped a friendship that he had, same guy, had with another girl who he used to fancy and wanted to get with. And they went on a holiday together, cycling holiday together.
But that's just not okay, though.
No, but you know what? It was an amazing learning experience, because they went on a cycling holiday together, and when he came back, and I was all like het up about it, and in my own head, very jealous. And when they
Understandably, by the way.
I
Sorry.
know. Well, when they came back, he hated her. He spent so much time with her. He was like, she really annoyed me. So I was kind of like,
She'd done herself bad.
wow, I think it would have worked against me if I'd have been really protective and not let him go. And I'm not, I say not let him go. It's not my decision to let anyone do anything. That's not who I am. So I would never have stopped that. I did try and encourage him not to go, I'm not going to lie. As a 21 insecure young female.
Yeah. You have that conversation, you say, this actually makes me feel uncomfortable, just to let you know it is obviously their decision. You can't force anyone to do anything, and you should never be in a relationship where you feel that you're getting forced to do anything.
Absolutely
at
not.
all. But it's the respect that you have for your partner. I wouldn't do that to my partner. I wouldn't go on holiday with someone I used to fancy and still might fancy and go on a cycling trip without my partner and just with that person. I would never do that. And I'm, so I think that was really big of you, especially at 21, to be like, do you know what? Fine. Again, you can't stop it. So you'd be like, yeah, cool, go do it. Whatever. But it doesn't make you feel nice. And how long you're sat home worrying about it?
Yeah, I was.
I
For
mean-
the first couple of days, but then actually it got easier. It was like I leant in and it was fine.
Yeah.
I allowed myself to lean into the fear.
I actually know someone that was in an open relationship, and I said, well, do you not worry that they're going to go off with someone else? Like, in that open relationship, they might like that person better. And they were like, well, if that's the case, they're not for me.
Well, this is the thing. So that particular partner who I'm talking about, who had he had lots of girlfriends at the time. Some I actually got quite close with. They were really, really lovely. He said something to me that changed everything for me. And he said, if I'm going to cheat on you, you've got no control over that. I'm going to do it anyway, so it's going to end. So you either choose to trust me and lean in, or you choose to not trust me, and it's going to be really difficult for us. But ultimately, however it goes is however it'll go regardless. You've got no control over it. Like, so that was like a big learning curve for me. But then after that, I dated a guy who had a very close relationship with his ex, and I think on some level he quite enjoyed that. That made me feel jealous.
That's cruel. That's pretty cruel. And I suppose,
like, I remember being on a date with him and him going outside and having a half an hour conversation with her on like one of our first dates. Yeah.
what?
He had pictures up in his room. Yeah.
I mean, that is just, and I wonder if it was the other way about, would he have accepted that?
He said he would.
Of you having pictures, half-naked pictures of your ex up on your wall.
Pictures.
Half-naked images of your ex on your wall. Sorry, just going to take this. I know we're halfway through this date. No, it's going really, really well. I just need to go and pick up the phone to my ex. Thank you. Just, are you all right? Yeah, just on a date. Do you know what I mean? Would he have accepted that?
He said he would. Who knows? That wasn't my case, was it?
I called bullshit.
Yeah, there we go. Cal calls bullshit.
I don't know. It's an interesting one. But then I suppose it's the topic of, can exes still be friends?
And can you have platonic friendships? So let's, Cal, it'd be quite interesting to hear what you think. What do you think?
That's so eloquent.
Bearing in mind that he has two friends in this room who are female.
Right now.
And his partner, Jules, is also in the next room, who we get on with. So,
but we'll just still, what do you think?
I think you're right about the trust thing.
yeah.
That's like a huge thing. But you're right as well. Something you said before, okay, I think, things can change between people. But I think it always comes down to the trust side of things. And even, I think you can still be attracted to someone in a way, but then you've got to have the responsibility on yourself to not act on that and make sure that you're with the right person. And just because you suddenly start feeling basic instinct kind of things to that other person, you're not just going to simply act on it and then screw everything else up on the other side.
But then I would ask you though, if you are having those feelings for someone and you're getting that, your friendships, you've been friends for a while and then you start getting those feelings, I mean, is that not saying something else?
Yeah. So I'm not sure. So Tom doesn't have many. He's got all my girlmates now because we're all like, he's adopted them all and you've adopted him, which is just beautiful. So, but he doesn't have a lot of girlmates that he got. None, actually. I think he's been on a couple of coffee dates with some girlmates in the past, but they're not massively close. All of his mates are lads, lads. That's the he's into his football and all the rest of it. If he had a girlfriend who he went to coffee with and she started seeing him in that way, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't mind him like that. If it was just platonic and I thought that it was platonic, I actually wouldn't want to know. Because if she was keeping it to herself, if she kept it to herself, didn't tell him, I'd be all right with it. As long as I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as long as, if I was dating someone and they said they had an ex that they were seeing, I think if they'd finished with them, I'd be like, okay, cool. But if the girl had finished with him, then I'd be like, well, did you still want it then? I don't know. I think that's maybe where I'd get a bit icky.
I also don't think I could be friends with a guy that I was falling for.
No.
Especially if they had a partner, because I'm friends with that partner now. Do you know what I mean? So I'd have to back off. I'd end up backing off from that friend, 100%.
Yeah, kind of like a little bit, it's respectfully, isn't it? Like, respectfully, I'll take a step back. Yeah, because I know that's not fair on the partner.
I couldn't actually imagine feeling that way towards one of my friends, though. I know it happened with Tom. I still don't know what happened. Genuinely, I think he drugged me. No, I'm joking. He did definitely did.
Poor Tom, honestly.
Drugged me with love. Oh, off.
I think it's really romantic.
It's really romantic, yeah. But yeah, I can't imagine it ever happening. And I have always had amazing relationships with men. I think they help me become a more rounded person. I think guys can bring you so much more, like, different advice,
a different
perspective. Yeah. Different things get brought up in those conversations with guys, right? Than what they do with girls. And I'm not saying I don't love my girlfriends. Oh my God, absolutely. I have the most wonderful female friends. But I do feel like it helps me be a bit more of a rounded person. Having male friends, and every friend offers something different, don't they? And a unique look at the world.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that I've got wonderful male friends, and I do get different perspectives from them. I have a wonderful time with them as well as my girls, and I think that as long as it's platonic, I'm happy. I'm good.
If you dated a guy and he had like a female best friend who he saw all the time, spent loads of time with, that female best friend, constantly seeing her, how would you feel about that?
I think I'd have to like kind of find out, okay, well, how long have you been best friends? Have you ever asked it out? I wouldn't ask these questions, but do you know what? I think you get a gist for it. Like, see when you meet
Do you think
someone
about
and
her when you're at home?
Yeah. Do you want to be with her because she's with someone else? Is that why you're not with her? Like, or she just doesn't want to be with you? You know, these kind of questions. But you also get the gist of that. When you're kind of like in among the conversation, you can completely tell. You can tell if something's completely just like, we're absolute mates, or if there's something sexual going on. You can see it, and there'll be eyes.
You can see the chemistry.
Yeah, you can see the chemistry. So it's completely, I think
But
you can tell.
On that note, you say you can see the chemistry. You say you can tell. If you are insecure, and I've been very insecure in the past, how much of that do you manufacture? Because you think it's going to be true. So you're looking for every little bit of evidence to reinforce that.
Well, right, so my first boyfriend, right, this actually happened. My first boyfriend, he had a girl pal, and it was fine. I had loads of girl pals. It was fine. It was normal. And I had loads of guy pals. Cool. Then this specific girl pal didn't want to, when I met, he was so excited for me to meet her. He's like, oh, you're going to love her. She's awesome. And then I met her, and she didn't want to look at me. Honestly, she didn't want to look at me. She didn't want to talk to me. And then from that first interaction, I thought, oh, there's something weird happening here. Why do you not want to talk to me? Why do you not want to know me? And then from then, she was never brought back. Like, I was never in the space with her in the same parties and stuff. I just wasn't invited, and I thought it was just really weird. And then I found out actually she did have something for him. She was trying to get with him. This was, and there was actually rumours going around the university class that there was something going on. So then that created me. I was like, absolutely fine, cool, yeah, go for it. Like, we'll be girlfriends, whatever. And then that happened, and yeah. So
true. That happened to me with one of my first boyfriends. He had a group of girls that he hung out with all the time, and I was never invited. They never brought me in. They never really spoke to me. They probably didn't like me. I don't know why, but that's how I felt. I just felt like they just didn't like me. And then when he ended up in a relationship with one of them.
Oh, well, actually, my first is married to one of his friends. He married one of the girls, that he was friends with in like high school.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I guess lots of relationships do come out of friendship.
Right. Can it be platonic?
I hope so. I've got so many.
Yes, it can.
Maybe it's platonic if you've both got partners.
I think it can definitely be.
Yeah.
There definitely could be platonic because we've got them. We're in them, and there's no on either side. There's nothing like that.
One of my friends, genuinely, and we joke about this all the time. We went to New York together. Ben. Hi, Ben.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Ben.
And we literally say how horrific it would be to date each other. And we shared a bed in New York, and we'd had some curry, and there was lots of smells, and it was all kicking off, and it was just awful in that room, and we were looking at each other, and we were like, ugh. just no.
So in there, from what we've got, we know, okay, you can have relationships that are platonic. Then we've obviously got an ex. Can an ex be platonic? Can it be? Are there feelings?
I think it can be, because on my side, with the ex that I was friends with, to be fair though, so I didn't, but yeah.
This is why this question exists.
Blurred lines. It's tricky. But I'm not friends with any of my exes anymore. Are you friends with your exes?
Yes. I am, and yes, we can be friends.
We're leaving that one there.
We'll leave that one there. That's another topic. Things have still got to be figured out there. But yes, all my exes in the past that have actually been like, like long term with, I walked away from, well, the first one, you know, after it was 10 years, then no, he wanted to, and I was like, I can't. And then,
did he want to be friends?
Yeah. I mean, not at the beginning. He wanted the first 6 months of don't talk to me. And then that's when I just was like, well, I can't talk to you anyway. Like, I can't be friends. I can't deal with that. And then the other one, obviously, he wasn't very nice in the end.
He wasn't very nice. I didn't want to be his friend in the end.
I don't think we can. I did try, but then I tried to help him and all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, it was like, this isn't going to work.
No.
So, you know, I think it can be tricky.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because when you've been with someone for a long period of time, to go from a romantic partnership and a close friendship, because that's what it turns into as well. Like, if you didn't have it at the start, you do become best friends, don't you, while you're in that romantic partnership, to breaking up when the romance dies, if the romance dies, or whatever reason you break up, if it doesn't, if it's something else, that friendship feels like it's gone. And so I do understand wanting to keep that friendship, you know. I do get that. But at the same time, when you've been in a relationship with someone, does someone always feel something still for the other person in that way? Because I actually don't know anyone in my life who is friends with an ex where it hasn't been that, where one person hasn't still had feelings for the other one romantically. I don't know anyone of that, but I'm sure there are examples out there. I am positive, especially people who have had children together. I imagine that is.
Well, there we go. You got kids. Obviously, you're going to stay in contact. It is good to stay. I mean,
and
I can
it's good
imagine
to have
it's a
positive
good
relationship.
Exactly. So there.
It's very difficult to have a positive relationship.
Maybe that's a subject. Another one we'll have to come on to, Cal.
Yeah.
But you're like there. That is interesting. Yes, because you have to keep that relationship. I mean, I know some relationships that really went very sour with that, with children involved, which is really sad, as well. But that is interesting. That you can have, and I do also know people that are still friends, and you know, for the sake of the kids as well.
In my head, though, if you're an ex for a reason. Because that's how, you know what I mean? So that's how I would kind of feel.
And then if your ex for a reason you don't work, so that's fine. So your next partner kind of thinking, okay, well, they didn't work. There was a reason behind that. However, I think you hit something there when you said that you did. There was a connection. There was love there. And does that connection, does that ever go?
On both sides.
On both sides, yeah.
Yeah, because it might have gone for me, but did it go for them?
Yeah. Or just that connection that you've had, like you've known each other so intimately, you know everything about that person, it's hard to completely walk away from that. So okay, let's stay friends, and then but that relationship, it's still quite an intimate thing. It can be an intimate thing.
What if it's not love involved? What if it's just sex?
Well, then there'd be no reason for someone to stay in touch with someone they just shagged, no? Because I'd be offering myself in that area. Is that what you're saying?
Also, like friends with benefits, basically.
But, you know, I love all my friends. So that would just be someone you sleep with. So hypothetically, if Tom was still seeing someone he used to shag, and just going for coffee with him, I'd be raging. I'd be like, you're not having sex with her, right? But now you want to have a coffee with her. What? That makes no sense. No, yeah. I'd be kicking off with that. Not kicking off, but I'd be a bit confused. I'd be very confused. I would not know. I would not want Tom meeting up with a sex buddy. And he wouldn't want that for me.
What happens if they were really good friends and
then there's love involved?
Ex.
If he had a sex buddy and it was just sex and they created a beautiful friendship out of that, I would be okay with that. Because I trust Tom and trust me. As long as she was welcoming to me.
Right.
Because if she wasn't welcoming to me, then that would make me think that she had an ulterior motive. And then that would make me feel that relationship wasn't built on mutual trust and respect and honesty. It would make me think that she's planning to steal him from me.
So really, it's also about having trust. So you've kind of said having trust in your partner is so important as well. And if the trust isn't there, if there's something that's not feeling right, if you're not thinking there's something right with a friendship, or like that's a conversation you have.
Tom says to me, he says, because sometimes he'll be. He don't get jealous in a bad way, but he might get jealous occasionally. And he's like, it's not that I don't trust you, Michaela. I just don't trust men. And I'm like, but if I'm not going to do anything, then
Yep.
do you know what I mean? I don't understand. How can they do something to me if I'm not saying yes?
And I've had partners in the past that have said that. People that I've seen in the past saying that they trust me, but they don't trust the man. Yeah. What do you think, Cal?
That's like saying you're not in control of yourselves.
But maybe that's what Tom means. Maybe he's worried that someone will force himself on me or something. I didn't even think about it like that, actually, which is quite horrible.
Yeah.
I've just always gone, well, you've got to trust me. I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to be like, or is it more that, they could take advantage of me? I bet you it is when I'm drunk. Take advantage of me when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, women take advantage of men when they're drunk.
They do. This is another big topic.
Right. We should end it, though.
We should end it here because that will have to be another topic we speak about.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, what do our listeners think? What do you think? Have you got platonic friendships with your exes? Does it work? What does your current partner think about that relationship? Like, please let us know, because obviously we've got our experiences, but we want to hear more. We want to hear about your stories and your lives as well. But thank you so much for listening. It has been amazing to have you here. Please subscribe if you like what you hear. Subscribe to us on YouTube and on Spotify, and you can hear all our newest episodes that come up. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening.
Have a beautiful day.
Bye.